Even a deadly flood is not going to stop someone as callous and ambitious as Greg Abbott from trying to gerrymander his state even more to benefit the Republicans. He said on Wednesday this week that tackling the redrawing of the state's congressional maps would be part of a special legislative session later this summer. So it's not just that they're doing it. They're doing it when it's not even like time to do it. They're just trying to rush it in there so that they can maintain control of the House of Representatives. He said that the session, which will begin in 10 days from when we're recording this, would address 18 different policy items the legislature didn't get to during its regular session. Maybe for one reason, most of you won't know this, Texas has a comically short legislative session because they don't take government seriously. So yeah, you're not gonna get to a lot of stuff when you only meet for a couple of months like every other year. But anyway, they also say that it is going to provide a revised congressional redistricting plan in light of constitutional concerns raised by the US Department of Justice, which in past years might have meant something. Maybe the DOJ thought that they were doing like racist gerrymanders. Now the DOJ is just Trump's personal lawyers. So I guess Pam Bondi thinks that they can squeeze a few more Republican seats out of Texas, and that is in fact what they're going to be doing. And so these redistrictings typically occur at the start of each new decade, which we are very much not at. Texas's maps were already redrawn just 4 years ago. They're still being fought over in court with a lawsuit alleging they discriminate against Black and Latino voters. Right now in the House, the Republicans hold a narrow 8-seat majority. Of course, 3 Democrats have passed away this year. It was even closer. In Texas, they already control 25 of the 38 congressional districts, despite the fact that state elections there are not nearly as off in that to that scale. Padding the GOP's majority by even just a few seats in Texas could very much complicate Democrats' ability to take control of the House in 2026. And so that's what they're going to do. They're supposed to wait at least 5 more years before they manipulate this thing to defy the will of the voters, but they can't wait. They need it now. They know they're doing unpopular stuff. They know people are against their agenda. They have no interest in changing course to appeal to voters. So instead, you just let some algorithm, some AI figure out exactly how to cut up the seats or whatever to get you as many spots as possible. But Brett, the only potential maybe silver lining of this is that there is a risk to doing this sort of incredibly intense gerrymandering, which is you can gerrymander in a couple different ways. You can do it to get the most possible seats, or you can do it in a way to get safe seats. Those don't work in the same way. And so right now they've got the majority and they have relatively safe districts. If they try to squeeze even more districts out, then those ones that they have are not gonna be as safe. And if things next year really go against the Republicans, this could end up biting them in the ass and they could lose seats that they wouldn't otherwise. But what do you think?
I think that there's a lot of people out there in the Republican supporting, demographic that is like, oh my God, you know what? There's all these super secret things they're doing to jeopardize election integrity. But most of the stuff that those guys are talking about are works of fiction. They don't exist. This dude, this stuff, if you have tinfoil in your house and you want to make a hat out of it, this is actually something based in reality. You can wear your tinfoil hat and be like, yo, what if I told you that as soon as someone gets into power, if they're in power when the clock strikes midnight on the decade and they've been able to also align the planets, i.e. the state legislature, to have some kind of gerrymandered district, they can further enshrine and etch and shore up their power advantage by having a vote where they corruptly draw districts around this house, but not that house, separating this person from that person in the same neighborhood, but giving them completely different representatives so that representation magically disappears. That's what happens. It's called gerrymandering. Get mad about that because it's insane.
Yeah. The only thing that's slightly worse than you presented it is in your metaphor, they're in power at that very special time when the stars align and the moon goes onto the mountainside so you can get into the dragon's hoard. No, they're just like, we're not gonna wait. We're just gonna do it now. And so I have a principled position. Sorry, I had a principled position that you shouldn't do this, but we don't live in that world. And so Democratic state legislatures, you know what they're gonna do there and in Ohio and probably in North and South Carolina as well. They're gonna continue to do this. So get after it. Go out there and gerrymandering out of existence as many Republican seats as possible. California's got way too many Republican Congress people. We can definitely manipulate the map, but I know what you're thinking, Republicans. That's not fair. There's Republicans in California and they deserve representation. And I think that's a very quaint and adorable position that doesn't fit in with the way your party has been running things. And so we need to gerrymander you into a fine gray paste until you're screaming so loud to stop it that we finally set up some sort of independent commission to make sure that these maps are drawn in a fair way. But until the Republicans agree to that, it cannot be one-sided warfare. Not with the stakes as high as they are. The Democrats have to do this too.